8,
You're watching
7,
Experience Comic Culture and Sales.
5,
Streaming live daily to
4,
Facebook, YouTube,
3,
Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey everybody, long time no see. Let me switch over to the comments here. I don't have anything going. Long time no see, everybody. We've been on a bit of a hiatus. Today's show, we are not selling anything. That is not a misnomer. That is true. We are not selling anything today. Today, we're just going to talk, pretty much. We have been on a hiatus for good few weeks now, for good reason. We have been having some difficulties with the team here, and a lot of miscommunication, stuff like that. But the goal here is to kind of have a soft reboot. Unfortunately, Mike has been dealing with some health issues, so he has not been as available, and other people weren't picking up the slack, basically. So we are going to make it a little more succinct, a little more easier on our end, so that we don't have the same difficulties that we had last time. And this stool is going to drive me crazy. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it a little bit easier. And Kyle, you going to say something?
Yeah, if you fall off the stool, we'll all be super rich because we'll win America's Funniest Home Videos.
There you go. I need that check.
Well, I mean, if nothing else, you get to meet Carlton.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so what have I not said already? But yeah, we just want to say how understanding we are of anyone's frustration with us and the shop. Needless to say, orders were not being taken care of properly, and so we want to apologize for that. And I completely understand if you don't want to come back to us and buy stuff from us going forward, but we're going to try to keep this going. We're going to switch it up going forward. We're going to have 90-minute shows. So that means 4:30 to 6 p.m. every Sunday. That's the schedule for right now. Maybe we'll build it back up, but for now we're going to keep it brief. And we're going to have a new policy when it comes to buying and deadlines within which to pay. So our goal is to have customers who claim something on the show claim that, yes, the books did finally go out. Yeah, so everything is shipped. Everything that was paid for has been shipped. And Jamil, your giveaway thing came back because Mike had taken that to Jersey. That's back here in Philly. If you feel like visiting us on Wednesday, feel free, and I can give you those cards that I promised you a while ago. Yeah, everything is shipped out. And so our goal going forward is to receive payments by Monday night and ship stuff out by Wednesday.
So let's clarify this a little bit just to make it easier for people to understand, right?
Yep.
You're going to invoice people after the show on Sunday nights.
Immediately.
So right after the show, after you make your claims, you're going to get an invoice from Fat Jacks. What the policy is that if you are paid by close of business Monday night, so end of the day Monday, if you're paid, then your stuff will ship out on Wednesday. If
Correct.
it takes longer than that for you to pay, your stuff won't ship out until the following Wednesday.
Right.
One of the things that had happened, and this is, something that everyone can kind of understand, is that Mike would get some payments right away, and then some payments would take longer, and then some payments would take even longer, and then some stuff would come in on people's days off. And what would happen is there was no way to know what was paid for and what wasn't when Mike wasn't there himself to do it. And as Elias mentioned, Mike's been doing this since, Jesus was buying comic books, and he's not a young man anymore, and he's got some health stuff just like we all do. So without him there to basically hold the hand of the package, there was a lot of confusion, right?
I am not here Mondays and Tuesdays. I have a weird schedule. Here, but I would say that we have two newer hires who have been very helpful to me. I work with them when I'm here in the shop, and they've been very helpful and will be able to help out a little bit with this process as well.
So now the other part of this, though, is that you guys are going to have basically a 1 week to pay policy, right?
Correct. So the policy is going to be, like we said, ideally we receive payments by Monday night so we can ship out Wednesday. But if we do not receive payments by Friday, we are going to put the books back. Doesn't mean I'm not going to show them on the show again, but that means that we need timely payments, basically. And if you do pay on, let's say, Wednesday or Thursday night, your stuff will be shipped out, but obviously it's going to take another week. So we encourage timely payments so that we don't have to hang on to books and have them sit here in the shop.
And if something happens, like with all things here in the experience, if you communicate to us, we'll communicate with Mike and Elias and be like, look, hey, so-and-so said, they claimed a bunch of stuff, but they're not going to be able to get you the money until Saturday.
Right.
Well, as long as they know it's coming, there's some flexibility there. But by and large, if you don't fill out the form, you don't submit your payment by Friday, your stuff is going back.
Right. And yeah, we just obviously encourage filling out the form. So we have your email, we have communication with you, the customer, so we can, make it work and make anything happen if there are, extenuating circumstances.
Cool.
I will also add that we might have a new co-host on the show, which would be nice. One of the newer hires is interested. So I'll confirm that with you guys before next Sunday, but most likely we will have a fresh face on here, which would be nice. He is our resident expert, we call him. He's reading everything X-Men, knows everything about the X-Men, more knowledge than I have ever met someone with the X-Men. Can they one-hand books though? No, they can't. I don't think anyone will be able to have such great grip strength on a book ever again, unfortunately. But they can hold the books well with two hands. Any new Silver Age coming this past week? No. I think you have seen the latest Silver Age that we've gotten, Jamil. Yeah, I'm hoping for more collections to come in. Obviously, that would help out with the show a lot. But nothing this past week.
So until this new hire is ready to come in on the show, the voice of God will return, at least for a little while. And I will be here keeping you abreast of any football developments, baseball developments, even though no one cares anymore because two crappy teams are in the World Series. Other news and things. And I will be giving Elias more guff than he really deserves. But I don't know what else to do with my time. So I will be here busting his chops, just like always, and helping out like with fun trivia. And hey, I know about that book. And did you realize that in that book, Superman spelled backwards is Taco Cat or something? Really being a general goof off.
We want this show to show off our love and knowledge of comics in general. So that'll be fun. And again, we hope you guys can tune in. Any questions, please type them in the chat now. And what else? Oh, and I'll just say it one more time so it's on record. But $9 for shipping, and the PayPal is fjcmike@comcast.net. Just so it's on the record. I'm going to say it every show anyway, but just while we're here, I'll say that. And obviously, if you're local, you just want to come pick up the books like Jamil does. Jamil comes down to the shop, picks them up. That's awesome as well. Five Nights at Freddy's, any good? I haven't seen it yet. I do want to watch it though. My girlfriend has this running joke where she has been wondering what Josh Hutcherson's been up to since the Hunger Games. And this is the answer to that question: is he is the main security guard in Five Nights at Freddy's. So pretty silly, but I do want to see it.
Of the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, Willy's Wonderland is better because of the people who could play the security guard in that establishment. Who is more insane to watch?
I love
the kid from the Hunger Games or Nicolas Cage. Like, let's be real. Like, Nicolas Cage is scarier than the bad guys in Five Nights at Freddy's.
I watched Willy's Wonderland when it came out on streaming. What was that, over the pandemic?
Yeah.
And it was a blast. It was so ridiculous.
That movie was just an excuse for Nicolas Cage to chew on scenery and scream a whole lot while not delivering any dialogue. Amazing.
Super unique Nick Cage film. But I love him. And the fact that movie got made before this delegitimizes this movie even further. And I've heard a lot of complaints about this one. But I'm still going to see it. Maybe I'll see it on Halloween itself if it's not already sold out at the theater. But yeah, I do definitely want to see it. I haven't played any of the games, actually, because I'm not a real gamer. But, I've watched plenty gameplay over my life.
Yeah, I've never played it either. And I'll be honest, if I'm going to play a video game, I want there to be something that I can accomplish other than just not die.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to play a game where I just don't die, I'll play Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, but no. I want to, like, okay, can I somehow organize the animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's to go and attack like a secret military base or something? Like, that's what I want to happen in this movie.
The later ones started having like a lot more movement, I would say. And I think this most recent one actually was the most movement that you ever got out of any of the games. I love horror games too. I really do enjoy horror games. I played the heck out of Outlast, both of them. I don't know why I like being scared, but I kind of prefer a video game experience sometimes to even the movies, because obviously you have control over your character. But horror with good story is my pace. I'm not too big of a slasher guy, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, I want a story. Like, don't just make me run away from Freddy Krueger or whatever. Like, I want to know why Freddy Krueger's so angry and where does he buy his gloves? And, are they the same gloves that OJ buys? Like, well, how do you... That is a very obscure reference and you're entirely too young for. Anyway.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. What have I watched this month horror-wise? I did a little Treehouse of Horror marathon for myself. That always takes me back, watching some Treehouse of Horror. I started from the beginning. I still haven't hit the point where they start calling it Treehouse of Horror, because actually I didn't realize for a while they just called it the Simpsons Halloween Special. And they just, tacked a Roman numeral on the end. So I haven't hit the number or the season where they actually start calling it Treehouse of Horror. I assume that term just comes from Bart's treehouse in the backyard, where they would tell the scary stories, like in one of the early things. But yeah, that's been a blast. What else? I watched Werewolf by Night in color. They just put it out in color, and I wanted to see how Green Man Thing was, and I was very pleased. They actually made his burning touch, green fire instead of just a typical, red and orange flame like they do in the comics. So I kind of enjoyed that. What else?
I've been watching show. I don't really go in for horror movies or TV anymore, because like I can read a book or a comic book and paint a way more vivid picture in my brain that it's way more twisted and scary than anything they'd be allowed to put on television.
Right.
So I've been watching there's a show right now, Jack Osborne's Night of Terror.
Okay.
Which is Jack Osborne, like son of Ozzy Osbourne, taking his mother and sister and other celebrities, including Jay Muse from Jay and Silent Bob, ghost hunting.
Huh.
And in the first episode, Sharon Osbourne either gets possessed or gets so bored she falls into such a deep sleep she can't be woken up. Because it's one of those ghost hunter shows, you can't really tell which it is. And I'm only still watching on the premise that eventually he's taking Ozzy ghost hunting, and that someday a ghost will mess with Ozzy and he'll be like, "Is that supposed to scare me? I partied with Keith Moon." Like,
yeah, exactly.
And Ozzy just no-sells all the ghosts.
Is that currently running, or
it's
is
on
it
HBO Max?
Oh, okay. I'm surprised I haven't heard of it, but that sounds hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, if you're into ghost hunting shows, it's like better than some of those stupid ones where it's like you never get any evidence. It's just a lot of whip pans and disappointment. But it's not like actively scary.
Right.
So it's good. And again, like Jenny McCarthy on one of these ghost hunts having to call Donnie Wahlberg because the machines are going off. And then Donnie Wahlberg getting angry at Jenny McCarthy because the machines are making their dogs go crazy, is worth watching the entire episode.
In that style, I used to watch this show with my dad called Appalachian Monster Hunters or something like that.
Hunting Bigfoots.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Mountain monsters.
Is that a tree knock?
Mm-hmm.
That show cracks me up, man. And they went really far with it sometimes. I remember one of the season finales, like they had one of their guys get like possessed or something. Oh, it's amazing. Amazing.
He did an hour-and-a-half documentary Jack Osbourne did where he took Jay Muse, again, into the wilds of northern Idaho to hunt for Bigfoot. And Muse's idea of calling the Bigfoot was basically singing the songs he sings in Clerks.
Wow.
And so it's Jason Mewes in the wilderness singing Morris Day in the Time, thinking that this is going to draw a Bigfoot. And I'm going, you know what?
Oh, my God.
If I was a Bigfoot and I heard this, I would go kill whatever that is.
Yeah. What's your favorite sandwich/soup on a cold, rainy day? I am a big soup fan. I'm a big fan of soup. It's a great question. Thank you. That's hard to pick. What is my favorite? I'm a big fan of like a macaroni and bean soup. I'm a big fan of a lentil soup. I like a lot of soups, honestly. I'm not a picky eater. I'm a very open-minded eater. So it's hard to narrow it down. But no, soup on a cold, rainy day is a good move. Good move.
Having not been to Fat Jack's Center City yet, personally, how far are you guys from Reading Terminal?
From Reading Terminal. Pretty close, honestly. Not too bad. The
best matzo ball soup I ever had, I got at Reading Terminal.
Reading Terminal is lovely. Yeah, I've had many a good food there.
I would be 900 pounds if I lived in the same city as that place.
Yeah. Macaroni and bean soup. Yeah, it's I can't say it's a very popular soup, but it's just little macaroni pieces, beans, and I don't even know what the broth. It could be a vegetable broth, probably. John Carpenter Marathon. That's great. The thing is, will always be one of my favorite creature horror movies.
Did you see John Carpenter on Stephen Colbert?
No, is that when was that from?
Colbert asked him basically. There are a bunch of theories about who is the Thing, and Colbert goes, "I have my theory, and I don't want to know the answer," but he goes, he asked John Carpenter, "Can you determine who the Thing is just by watching the movie?" And John Carpenter goes, "The Thing is very specifically a person, yes, and you can figure out who it is by watching the movie, but only if you watch the movie and then send me a certified check for $1,000 to my house, and then I will tell you." Like,
wow.
He you know, he's kind of made a joke like he's never gonna tell, like, and which is I think what makes that movie so great.
Yeah, no, definitely. The way it ends is excellent. I love. You know, it leaves you uneasy. Do we have any pre-code horror books? I'd have to do a little dig. None that I can think of off the top of my head, but it would be worth a look. I never know what I can find in this place. We have decades worth of back issues in here. There was some comment I missed. I don't have this up on my phone.
Let's see. We have pumpkin coffee or hot apple cider.
Oh, hot apple cider for sure. And I love fall. I love everything fall. And that's why I'm a little mad at the weather here in Philly, which has been like upper 60s, 70s for the past like week. I want my fall weather. I'm excited to wear my sweaters. Like, come on. What's going on? No good.
So let's do this. We got about let's go back over kind of the stuff we talked about at the start of the show here, you know.
Yeah.
What's going on with the future of the show? What's happening in terms of making sure we don't get behind for anybody who's joined us since the beginning of the show?
Yeah, for sure. So we have been on a bit of a hiatus, as I'm sure some of you have noticed. Mike was having health issues, so we had a bit of a lack of communication and lack of slack picking up from other members of the team. So going forward, we're going to have shorter shows, and we're going to have specific payment guidelines that we ask people to follow. But shows are going to be 90 minutes every Sunday from 4:30 to 6 EST. We are going to have hopefully a new co-host. We're going to have guidelines with the payment that I was talking about, which are if you pay by Monday night, we get your books shipped out by Wednesday. If we don't get payments by Friday night, we put your books back unless you communicate, something with us. And if we receive payments later than Monday night, you got to wait until the following Wednesday for your books to be shipped out. So that's kind of the gist of it. Again, any questions, please feel free to ask them. Do we have any particular books? That's a good question, so that I can know what to look for next week. But yeah, that is pretty much it, I believe.
Very cool.
What is this fall everyone keeps talking about? We don't have that in Texas. Yeah, I had some friends from Texas who went to Drexel with me, and they were bewildered by the snow that we got here one year. It's 80? Dang, yeah. I mean, it was 70 like yesterday, so not too far off.
I feel like it's 80 in my office right now, but that's just because I have these stupid lights on.
Yeah.
I didn't even turn my camera on. So. No, all right. Do you have anything that you could tell people that, like, you notice and you're going to try and pull out for next week's show when we get back to selling?
Next week, all I have really gotten together so far is a bunch of incentive variant covers that are going to be very fairly priced. But, we're talking 1 in 25s, 1 in 50s, 1 per store exclusives, stuff like that. Because that's something modern that I have on hand. Omega Men #3, like the DC series, I think. I'd have to look. We did have some early Omega Men issues from a recent collection. And I'm looking at first appearance of Lobo up there, and I'm forgetting which number that is. Is that 3 or 4? No, that's issue 2. Issue 2 is first Lobo. So issue 3, I'd have to look, Jamil. But again, thank you for asking because I will take a look.
Omega Men 3 is first Lobo.
Oh, it is 3?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not 2. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. So then yes. Their answer is yes. We do have #3, and I can only see it because I wrote it real big on the price tag, but it's $100, and I'm pretty sure it's either like VF Plus or VFNM. It's in very good shape. Is there going to be any changes to the invoices process? I got a few months ago. Filled out the form, but never got an invoice for them. The invoice process is going to be the same that it was the past few shows, and more than a few. But I send out invoices as soon as we say goodbye to you on Sunday from the live stream. I send invoices out immediately. So if you fill out the form, I have your email, and I have the ability to send out the invoices. So yeah, no real change there. Just be ready on your emails. If you have the money ready, that's great. And the faster you send the payments, the better it is.
Well, and here's the other thing, right? Like we put the form in the chat.
Yeah.
Form is most of the time available in the description. They're always available from our website. If you go to theexplive.com, there's a show registration drop down that you can click on to get to the form. If there's a delay in you filling out your form, it could result in you not being invoiced in a timely manner, not being invoiced at all, and then having the books put back because they haven't received payment in time. So
Right.
part of what we're attempting to do here is to streamline this process so that it's not so big and bulky and reliant on so many people to make work, which is kind of what happened in the past, right? So now it's, if you fill out the form right after the show, you'll get your invoice right after the show, and you need to fill out the form every time. So it can't just fill it out once and think you're done. Fill out the form every time you make a claim, and then Elias will send you your invoices immediately following the show. And then again, you have until Monday night, close of business, to get your payment in if you want them to go, your books to go out Wednesday. And as long as you pay by Friday, they'll go out the following Wednesday.
Yep. That is the plan. Thank you, Zaynan, and hello. This is from my dad. This is one of the ones from my dad's collection that he gave to me. I think it fulfills the Halloween spirit at the same time as the comic book spirit. Yeah, Zaynan, I guess I neglected to mention this to you last time you were in, but yeah, we're doing a soft reboot here at the show. So no sales tonight, but we're just kind of talking about the plan going forward and answering any questions that people have. So yeah, we were just talking about Halloween, all things fall, pretty much. But yeah.
Well, speaking of Halloween, tomorrow night on Jen's Talking Shop show at 5:00, we have an actual Michael Myers.
One of the people that played Michael Myers?
Yeah, she'll be talking to Tyler Main.
Oh, wow.
Who played Michael Myers, who also currently has a Kickstarter out for a comic book he co-wrote with Christopher Priest.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, you mean to tell me that on the day before Halloween, we can have a guy who is in a Halloween? That seems like kismet.
That's great. That's very cool. I didn't watch the latest Halloween movie, but I watched the one prior. I was just talking to my friend yesterday about how many sequels they have made to these classic horror movies now, and it's mind blowing. Jason has 10 movies. Friday the 13th has 10 movies, and I think Halloween might even beat that out. And then obviously there's Jason versus Freddy. So if you count those two, that's 12 Jason movies. But crazy. Sabertooth from X-Men as well.
Tyler Mane also played Sabertooth in the original X-Men films.
Ah, well then I've definitely seen him. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very eager for the X-Men to enter the MCU. Well, that's something that I've been watching is Loki. I've been watching week by week Loki. I haven't seen this Thursday's episode yet, actually, though. So I'm going to watch that tonight. I've been very busy. But I'm going to watch that tonight. I don't know if anyone's been watching Loki. I haven't been loving it, to be honest.
The day the SAG strike is over, I'm going to take the entire day off work and watch Loki in one sitting.
Yeah. I think it'll definitely be better in one sitting. That's pretty much how I did Secret Invasion, was one fell swoop. They just... It's like a comic book writing problem that some comic book writers have, is you got to leave us with a cliffhanger that's really going to make us want to come back next week, you know? It's or next time, next issue, whatever. Because some of these endings just don't do anything for me. They don't get me excited, you know? And it's hard to do. I'm not saying it's easy to come up with a cliffhanger every time, you know, but
right.
It's vital to make people tune in next week. Otherwise, I would have stopped watching after this first episode of the series, you know, if I wasn't a Marvel fan. But first episode of Loki blew me out of the water, and then the consecutive the following two episodes didn't do much for me. But again, I haven't watched this latest episode, still got to do that. Yeah, from the original X-Men #1. Yeah,
I don't think it's been done yet, but I'd like to see Sabertooth fight Venom. I will raise the stakes on you, Leonard. I would like to see the Venom symbiote attach itself to Sabertooth. Like, how do you beat that? I don't even know if it's possible.
Venom is now... Well, not is now. A piece of the Venom symbiote is now on Natasha Romanoff on Black Widow, so now she is a Venom as well. I'm a little symbioted out, to be honest, and I used to love everything symbiote, but this whole summer of the symbiotes thing really tired me out.
Black Widow Venom?
Yeah. Did you not know about that?
I did, but it just in my brain just now clicked that that's what it was.
The problem is that there was very little story, and very little build up to it. I mean,
right. And I've not been reading much Marvel at all.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Intentionally, because I'll be honest, I'd rather spend my money on other things. But the fact that that universe has gotten so bloated, and they're attaching symbiotes to random things, and they're, bringing back characters that no one asks for.
Yeah.
Just kind of has me turned off.
Yeah.
But I will say this: there's a new Punisher coming from David Pepose that has me a little amped.
Yeah. Yeah. I met him for the first time at NYCC this year. Very nice guy. Talked to us all about Savage Avengers because we really enjoyed that book. And he got me excited for this Punisher book. I didn't know what to expect. I still don't fully know what to expect. He gave us a little bit of a tidbit, but yeah, I hope it's very strong. Of course, I love the last Punisher run by Jason Aaron. That was fantastic. And this is going to be a fresh change of pace as far as I can tell. What did Jamil just say?
Wait, there's a Wolverine Origins video game.
Oh, yes. I've heard about that, and I've heard it's not bad. I'm sure it's probably on the PS2 or something like that. I still have my PS2, and it still runs, and I still play games on it occasionally, and I'm kind of itching to buy some old PS2 games. And
there was a TikTok about Spider-Man 2, the new one.
Yeah.
And it was somebody playing the PS2 Spider-Man 2 video game.
Yeah.
And I'm going, man, I remember when that came out, and it was the coolest thing ever to be able to swing through Manhattan.
Yeah.
And then you'd realize that you weren't paying close enough attention. You'd swing right into the side of a building and have to start the level over.
Yeah. I've only played like a couple hours of the new Spider-Man 2 game so far, but I mean, it's beautiful. The graphics are amazing. The pacing is awesome. It's just they keep polishing it and refining it every single time. It's so great. Yeah, they're running symbionts into the ground. That's what I'm saying. I used to love everything symbiote, but Death of Venomverse attempted to pare down the amount of symbiotes, but at the same time, the writing felt very all over the place to me. And I tend to love Cullen Bunn, but he wasn't a part of the Carnage run leading up to this, so it just felt very disjointed from the Carnage run. Like at the end of the Carnage run, I thought he was already god level powerful because he had taken, I think they call it the All Red, his weapon that he forged in the Norse forges. I thought he was already a god level power, and then he is going around killing all these Venoms, and that's not even his end goal. He's not even done. Now he wants to fight the main 616 Eddie, but yeah, it's just a little crazy. Who are some of my favorite villains? I'm a big fan of Doc Ock. I'm a big fan of a lot of obscure villains though too. So let's see. Who are some of my favorite villains?
So for me, from my big popular, everybody knows who he is, villain is Thanos.
Okay.
My less popular, less people care is Dormammu. Then less popular and less people care than that, I'm a big fan of like some of the super obscure one-time appearing Batman villains.
Yeah.
Like I always make the joke that the greatest villain ever created was Condiment King.
Yeah.
You know, but it goes that way. Like from the Marvel universe, they're always big, kind of Galactian magic users.
Mm-hmm.
From DC, it's always like real obscure, or it's like Etrigan, the Queen of Fables, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love cosmic level villains from Marvel. So I would say I love Annihilus. I would say I like Blastar. And I just want more stories with them. You know what I mean? But yeah, one of the craziest FF arcs, I think, was Death of Johnny Storm, and he was being basically held prisoner in the negative zone by Annihilus, and they made Annihilus really disturbing and menacing, which I thought was very cool. But yeah, I'm all for obscure villains that are in a bigger characters rogues gallery. So more obscure Spidey villains, more obscure Batman villains. That's always a lot of fun. They made the Clintar extinct back in the 90s in Planet of the Symbiotes. A decade later, they're flourishing again. Yeah, for me, when I really got back into symbiotes was when Brian Michael Bendis brought Agent Venom to Clintar, to the planet. And that was when he was on the Guardians team. That run I really enjoyed in general because I love cosmic stuff. But yeah, they brought him to the planet, and you really got an idea of the scope of the symbiotes for the first time. It wasn't just, Venom and Carnage and their silly, violent antics. It was like, this is a powerful, super powerful concept that can really be taken further. And for a while, I enjoyed, how far they were taking it. I think it was Rick Remender that wrote a lot of Agent Venom stuff with Flash Thompson as Venom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he created Agent Venom.
Right. So I really enjoyed that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, too much of a good thing is a real problem. So yeah, Absorbing-Man's great. I love Absorbing-Man. I didn't watch much of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I tuned in when he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I love him. he always is a blast, and he's really powerful when he puts his mind to it. He was in Immortal Hulk, was very powerful in that because he actually absorbed Bruce's gamma, which was pretty crazy. And most recently, I learned that he was in Marvel Knight's Spider-Man. Kyle, I don't know if you know about this storyline. Do you know about that?
No.
You tell me if I can't say this, but he absorbed a drug and became that drug and was distributed amongst the New York area.
Did he become gas cabbage? Did he become electric lettuce?
No, not electric lettuce. A powder substance. And I had no idea about this. I had no idea about this until recently. But Absorbing Man can absorb anything. I mean, I don't think there's any real limit to his abilities. So, yeah, he's always a lot of fun. He took out the Red Hood. Conway King took out Red Hood.
He did, but only because Red Hood was having an off day.
I don't know that the book that happened in, but that's really funny. Stillman, shout out to Stillman. Love Stillman. He played a serious role in the early arcs of Christopher Cantwell's Iron Man run. I really enjoyed him in that. I just love when writers can take silly villains or silly characters and make them serious, make them be taken seriously, and make it believable. You know, because there's potential. There's a dark potential for a lot of characters, or there's serious potential for a lot of silly characters. You know, just get into the psychology of why they became that character. You know, why did they choose that power set or that look or that name? And usually it's not by choice. Usually there's a real backstory there, and that always provides an interesting story. Polkadot Man, Kite Man, yep, definitely.
So here's the thing with Polkadot Man and Kite Man, right? You had the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie that really got Polkadot Man over.
On the board.
Kite Man is so over from the Harley Quinn animated series that they're not like obscure, unheard of, bottom of the barrel villains anymore. They're legit, real, almost like leading, or they're both B stories, but
yeah,
you know.
No, that's true. You're right. I guess they can't be called obscure anymore.
Right. I mean, it's like Calculator when he became the Oracle. Like, okay, once he becomes the Oracle, he's no longer the Calculator, and it's not like weird.
Yeah.
Well, it's different kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Made him the evil version of Oracle. Interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I wanna toot my own horn and say that this week I had 19 books to read. That was on my pull list, and I even read a few more just because I had the time. I don't know why I did that to myself, but it was a huge week for releases this week. Next week is going to be much lighter for me, but there's so much good stuff to read right now. But let me see. This week I read Penguin, everything Fall of X, so Miss Marvel, Dark X-Men, etc. Captain America, this new volume has been very strong. Immortal Thor has been very strong. There's just so much good stuff to read right now, and I can't make myself cut down because there's just too much good stuff. Trapster upgraded from Pacebot Pete. Yeah. Trapster, original Frightful Four member, and has had a lot of appearances since then. Kite Man played a pivotal role in the Joker-Riddler War. I don't believe I know when that storyline was from, Zanin. If you
Not
could.
that long ago.
Not too long ago?
Not that long ago. Well, I suppose I say not that long ago. For all me saying not that long ago, it could have been 2006. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
Players together.
Like, what was it, New 52? Or in that era?
Yeah.
So, no,
Fall of X is amazing. Yeah, I've really been loving it. I for a while was gonna fall off the X wagon completely just because there's so many titles, and there still are so many titles. But I read the Hellfire Gala. Well, here's how it went down. I was like, I'm out. I'm done reading X stuff. And then Lucas read the Hellfire Gala from this year, and he was like, I will not bother you about reading X-Men anymore if you read the Hellfire Gala. Just read it. If you hate it, you don't have to read anything X-Men again. But if you read it and you like it, I think you're going to like it. So anyway, I read it, and I was hooked. And now I'm reading every single Fall of X book, and there's a lot to keep up with, but it's very enjoyable. Transformers and Void Rivals. Yeah, I read this week's Void Rivals. That was a lot of fun. Transformers issue 1, I enjoyed, but I would say that it wasn't as beginner friendly as I thought it was going to be. And I don't quite understand where it's supposed to take place in the timeline. It feels like a reboot, kind of a soft reboot to me. They're in their 90s looks, like they have their 90s designs, so I think it's supposed to take place in the 90s. But I mean, I hope it continues to be good. But I was surprised that it wasn't a little more beginner friendly, is what I was going to say. And I love Daniel Warren Johnson's death. I love his stuff. He's writing and drawing it, so I think that's very cool. But yeah, I hope the Energon universe continues to grow. Alan Scott Green Lantern, I read that. Yep, that was one of the extra things I tacked on to my pull list this week. I enjoyed it. I haven't read Jay Garrick or Sandman yet, though, from the recent, I guess, JSA spin-off series, you would call it. But Jeremy Adams is writing Jay Garrick, so I do assume it's going to be strong. But yeah, I love Alan Scott as a character. I love that Green Lantern as a character. He follows different rules. He's not, part of the core. So I hope that continues as well. 2018 was Joker Rid the World. Okay, yeah, I'm sure I heard about it, but I didn't realize that Kite Man was so important there. Transformers Deep Cut. Remember the character called Circuit Breaker? I wonder if Marvel still owns that character. Was that a character that was originally created in a Marvel comic? Is that what you mean? Or was that just an obscure character in general? Because obviously if it was created in a Marvel comic, I could understand that. But speaking of Transformers, I also, working here, discovered that there was a new Avengers Transformers crossover book, limited series in like the early 2000s. Didn't know that. Jay Garrick book is great. Okay, good. I will add it to my ever-growing list. I was trying to cut back, but DC's just putting out too many good new series right now.
it's fair. So, all right, let's do this. Does anybody have any last second questions about going forward with the Fat Jack show, what we're going to be doing, how things are going to work? One last quick AMA question if you want, and then we're going to let Elias get out of here. He's been carrying the weight on trying to get the show back on the air for a few weeks now, and doing the work of trying to organize the whole shop there. So I want to give him, a chance after coming on and telling you all what's up to go home and get some rest, and then come back and hit him hard next week so that we can have a killer show a week from tonight at this same time.
Yep.
So if anybody has any last minute questions, go ahead and throw them up in the chat. And we will do our best to answer them. Otherwise, we're going to call her an evening and let Elias get out of here early. And we'll see everybody next week.
Yeah. So, yeah, just shoot any questions in the chat or forever hold your peace. Thanks, Jamil. And, of course, a big thank you to Jamil for sticking with us so long. Yeah. And Leonard, I don't believe I've seen you in the chat before, so nice to meet you. I'm Elias, and I hope to see you next week. Anyone remember the original Transformers comic series where Spider-Man did a one-issue crossover before they moved Transformers to their own universe with G.I. Joe? Yes, I do remember that. I do remember that indeed. And yeah, I guess from telling from the movies and the direction of the comics, Transformers and G.I. Joe will once again reunite. So that'll be interesting. That'll be very interesting.
My life goal is to someday have Robert Kirkman money so I can just buy the things I like as a child and make them my comic books.
Exactly. I would love that as well. It's a lot of characters I would like to write stories for.
It's true.
All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I would encourage you guys to follow us on social media. So if there's any other questions you do have, you can contact us during the week. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. I'm not calling it the other thing. We're on TikTok. Fat Jack's Comicrypt with one C in the middle. And yeah, that'll do it.
Very cool. We'll see everybody next week.
All right. See you guys next week. Take care.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.